Hello everyone, so today we're going to be talking about something that comes up in almost every conversation I have with clients: calories and macros. And I get it, the fitness world throws these terms around constantly, but what do they actually mean? And more importantly, how do they work together to help you reach your goals? Whether you're trying to lose fat, build muscle, or just feel better in your body, understanding this stuff is a total game changer. And don't worry, I'm going to try and keep this super practical and conversational. No textbook lecture here, and hopefully by the end of the video, you'll understand what calories and macros are, how they're connected, and how to actually use this information. Okay, so let's just start with calories. Simply put, a calorie is just a unit of measure. It's how we measure the energy in food and the energy your body uses throughout the day. Now, here's something interesting. When you see calories on a food label, those are actually kilocalories, but everyone just calls them calories. So we'll just stick with that, which is why it's a KCAL. Your body uses these calories for literally everything. Breathing, keeping your heart beating, digesting food, walking around, and of course, your workouts. Even right now, as you're watching this video, you're burning calories. Think of calories like fuel for a car. Your body needs a certain amount of fuel to run properly. Too little and you'll start running on empty. Too much and your body stores that extra fuel as fat for later use. The basic equation is this: eat more calories than you burn equals weight gain. Eat fewer calories than you burn equals weight loss. Eat about the same as you burn equals weight maintenance. Now, I know what you're thinking. If it's that simple, why is weight loss so hard? Well, we'll get into that in a bit. But first, let's talk about macros. Macros is short for macronutrients, and these are the three main nutrients that make up all of the calories that you eat. So that's protein, carbs, and fats. Every single calorie you consume comes from one of these three macros. They're not just about energy though. They each play a specific role in keeping your body functioning properly. So let's break each one of them down. Everyone's favourite macro, right? Protein is made up of amino acids, which are basically the building blocks for your muscles, hair, nails, and pretty much every tissue in your body. Here's why protein is so important though. It helps you build and maintain muscle. It keeps you feeling full, which is huge if you're trying to lose weight, and it prevents muscle loss when you're in a calorie deficit. Protein has 4 calories per gram of protein. Good sources include meat, fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, tofu, and tempeh. Okay, so carbs normally gets a bad rap, and to be honest, it drives me crazy. The whole no carbs before marbs, right? Look, carbs are not the enemy. In fact, they're probably the most important macro you have. Carbs are your body's preferred fuel source, especially for exercise. Any workout lasting from 30 seconds to a few hours is going to be using carbs as its main fuel. Cut them out completely and trust me, you'll feel it. You'll get cravings, headaches, zero energy. It's not exactly ideal, is it? Carbs also have 4 calories per gram. But there is a difference. Not all carbs are made equal. We have simple carbs like white bread, sugar, and then we've got complex carbs like sweet potatoes, brown rice, whole grains. Complex carbs keep you fuller for longer because they take more time to break down. And then also don't forget you have fruit and vegetables, and these are carbs too. And the last one, fat. Fat used to be the villain, especially back in the 90s with all those low-fat diets. But we now know better, and your body actually needs fat to function, especially your brain. Fat helps with hormone production, reduces inflammation, improves cholesterol levels, and helps you absorb certain vitamins like A, D, E, and K. Plus, eating enough fat can help reduce hunger and stop unnecessary snacking. Fat is a lot more calorie dense though. it actually has 9 calories per gram, more than double for both protein and carbs. Good sources of fats include nuts, seeds, avocado, olive oil, and oily fish, like salmon. Here's where it all clicks. So all of your calories come from macros. There's no other source. Well, apart from alcohol, but we don't talk about him. So when you're tracking calories, you're really just tracking your total energy from your protein, carbs, and fats combined. So let me give you an example. If you eat 200 grams of carbs, that's 800 grams of calories, because 200 times 4 is 800. If you eat 150 grams of protein, that's another 600 calories. And if you eat about 67 grams of fat, that's roughly 600 more calories, because 67 times 9 equals 603. Add them all up and you've got about 2,000 total calories. But here's the key difference. Tracking calories is the same as focusing on total energy intake. Tracking macros is the same as focusing on how much of each macronutrient makes up those calories. Both matter, but they're looking at your nutrition from slightly different angles. So let's talk about how this affects your weight. You've probably heard calories in versus calories out. And fundamentally, yes, that is accurate. But it's not quite as simple as people make it sound. If you constantly eat more calories than you burn, then you'll gain weight. If you consistently eat fewer calories than you burn, then you'll lose weight. That's the foundation. But here's where it gets complicated. Your metabolism isn't static. It is affected by your body size, muscle mass, age, hormones, sleep, stress, activity level, may I go on. 2 people eating the exact same calories can lose or gain weight at totally different rates. And when you cut calories for a while, your body then adapts. It starts burning fewer calories, your metabolism slows down, and your hunger increases. This is why that old rule of 3,500 calories equals 1 pound of fat doesn't always work out perfectly in real life. This is also why those crash diets rarely work in the long term. Sure, you might lose weight really fast, but you're also likely losing muscle, your metabolism will slow down, and you're probably starving. It's just not sustainable. The practical takeaway is that for fat loss, you should aim for a sustainable calorie deficit, eating a bit less, moving a bit more, choosing filling foods you can actually stick with. Whereas for muscle gain, you should aim for a small calorie surplus, combined with strength training and adequate protein. Moderate, steady changes will always beat aggressive cuts every single time. If you're working with me, or you're thinking about it, then here's what you need to know about your priorities. Calories come first. This is a non-negotiable. You can have the perfect macro split. But if you're eating too many calories and trying to lose fat, it's just not going to happen. Calories determine whether your weight goes up, down, or stays the same. Protein is second. This is why I always set calories and protein targets first with my clients. Protein builds muscle, keeps you full when dieting, and helps you maintain muscle while losing fat. It's that important. Carbs and fat will then make up the rest of your split. How you split these depends on your training volume and personal preference. Generally, the more you train, the more carbs you'll need. I personally just tend to favour higher carbs and lower fats for most clients, simply because fat is so energy dense and it's easy to accidentally overeat on it. But honestly, adherence matters most. You need to stick with whatever approach you choose. Okay, so how do we actually do this? Well, first things first, you're going to need some sort of calorie counter. You can use MyFitnessPal. This is probably the most popular, but there's also Lose It, Chronometer, and others. You'll also want a cheap food scale from Amazon. They're like 10-15 quid. And then when you're buying food, just make sure you're looking at the labels. You just need to look out for 4 things: calories, carbs, proteins, and fats. And that's it. And make sure you pay attention to the serving sizes though, because those labels can be pretty sneaky. Do you need to weigh everything? Well, when you're starting out, yes, I recommend weighing out most things. Not because I want you to become obsessive, but because portion sizes can be deceiving. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter? Most people scoop out way more than that without even realising. But you don't need to weigh out fibrous veggies. So broccoli, spinach, leafy greens, they're so low in calories that, to be honest, it doesn't really matter that much. As you get more experienced, you'll get better at eyeballing portions. And to be honest, the goal is self-awareness, not self-obsession. So how accurate do you need to be? Well, it depends on your goals. If you're trying to get in shape and lose some weight, then being within about 10% of your target is totally fine. If you're prepping for a bodybuilding show or a photo shoot, then you might need to get super lean and you might want to be just a little bit more precise. So I would say probably within about 5%. But remember, you can't always be 100% accurate anyway. Food naturally varies in its calorie content and there's always human error. The key is just being consistent in how you track. So any small errors, even, over time, don't make a massive dent. Common mistakes that I see most people do is not measuring or weighing or tracking their high calorie foods like oils, nut butters, and salad dressings. Forgetting about liquid calories like that coffee you had earlier. Underestimating portion sizes. These little things add up so fast. So just make sure if you are doing that, you are aware of what you're consuming as well. Here's the thing though, you don't need to count calories and macros forever, because honestly that would be exhausting and not the most healthy. Think of tracking as a tool. It's more for self-awareness and feedback. Helps you understand what you're actually eating versus what you think you're eating. For a lot of people, that gap is actually quite huge. You can absolutely lose fat without counting if you use other strategies, like eating mostly whole foods, controlling portions with visual guides, and eating mindfully. Those approaches work too, but if you're working with a coach like me, then tracking is important because it gives me the information I need to help you. I can see where the problems might be, I can help you make adjustments, and I can get you back on track when progress stalls. The goal is to track for a period of time, learn from it, and then gradually transition into a more intuitive approach where you've internalized good habits. Okay, so let's just wrap up this episode on calories and macros. It might seem complicated at first, but really they're just tools to help you reach your goals. Calories tell you the total energy you've been eating, macros tell you where that energy is coming from. Both matter, both work together, and understanding them puts you in the driver's seat of your nutrition instead of just guessing and hoping for the best. If you found this helpful, then please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more practical fitness content. And if you're interested in working together, then check out the link in the description box down below. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye!